friend, it's Pat Sloan here. It is Tackle It Tuesday, and I have a few different things to go over. Plus, we have the once a month project, Piece and Quilt. It's not a block of the month. It's multiple blocks each month, but the Piece and Quilt. And so I'm going to wait till the end to do that when I can get everything off the design wall. And so before we get into those things, first of all is Scavenger Hunt Day. That's on our calendar if you haven't looked at it lately. So once a month I give you a topic, something from your sewing area, your quilting life that you share about. So I thought it would be fun to see what your current favorite fabric is, because I think we all have a current one. Might be something new, something maybe you've had for a little while but you haven't actually gotten a chance to sew it yet. For me, the current is always the newest one of my fabric lines. So Gratitude and Grace is my current favorite fabrics. Probably a close second is some of the Christmas fabrics. Yes. Oh, Christmas fabrics, love them. So on my Quilts Along with Pat Sloan, where you can go and share a photo, take a picture, or just tell us what your current favorite fabric is. And bonus points if it is also my Gratitude and Grace. Okay, all right, so that's the scavenger hunt, which is always a lot of fun. We get a lot of fun things. Let's talk about Christmas all year, because I need to take it off the wall, and I sewed sections. Look at this. So we want to talk about this, because I do have something that I discovered when sewing it together, and is a boo-boo. We all have boo-boos, right? We all have something that didn't go as planned. And here on my channel, I tell you about them. I don't secretly go or be, off camera, remake things and then pretend they were fine right from the beginning. I don't lie. I tell you what I'm doing and what works, what doesn't work, because that's what real life is. We have ups, downs, things that come out and things that don't come out. Sometimes, like this one, there's like serendipity because it worked out fine, but it's still an issue and you will notice it. So I need to show you. Okay, so what is it? When we're doing the pinwheels, okay, this is a whole section here. This is the lower section. All right, and so I've got the top section, the lower section, and then all that is left will be that one, plus the borders, of course. I'm going to hold on. I got to shut the door because they're mowing next door. It is so lovely to have the door open, but when they're mowing, it can still get picked up on here, so you may have heard it. Okay, so here is the bottom section of the quilt with two of the joys, and what I'm talking about are these peppermints right here. This guy and this guy. There's a bunch of them up there. There's a that was from the top. Oh yeah, so down below. So here, I'll hold it up again. So here's the bottom section. You can see all the peppermints right in between the trees. Look at everything sewn. But what happened is I went to sew this peppermint, and in the layout pattern, it said to put a little border around it. And while I went to do that, and this cutting size was not matching, it was too short, and I thought, well, what's going on here? Well, it turns out, let me just put this graphic up. So there you can see the little border around the peppermint, right? And my peppermint does not have a border. So what happened is there are a couple different sizes of half square triangles for that particular quilt, and I made the ones that were a little bit bigger. So my final peppermint is a little bit bigger. But the great part is it's the exact size needed. It just means there's no little frame around it like this diagram is showing. So if you also use the other size like me, then your peppermint, if you choose, hold on, here you can see if you choose to leave it, they won't float, but they will go right next to the trees. But in the case of the trees, it's fine. It doesn't look bad at all. I mean, it looks totally fine. So there is my little error with a serendipity finish on top, like a cherry on top. It's like, oh, okay, it's an error. Hold on, I'm all stuck. I'm having a time of it. So good grief, you know, it worked out. Otherwise, I would have had to remake them because there really wasn't a good way to reduce the size of them if they were too big to put right next to the blocks next to them. So I lucked out. I totally lucked out. There's also a change on the layout where for those little frames, you actually need more than the pattern the original layout said. So if you didn't check and download it recently, go ahead and download it. I mean, cutting more is not as big a deal as if you know, it was the wrong size or something. It's just you need more of those than the layout pattern has in the older version. So go download a new version. So now I can take all that down and I can put it away till next month. When next month we do the last, that's kind of the middle row up there. The top row is at the bottom. And then we do the borders after that. So yeah, we're moving along really nicely to get it done. Okay, so I got something in the mail that I ordered and then something that you sent me. So let me just look at those. I needed some more of the non-stick needles by Schmetz. These are my favorite. They're great if you're doing fusible, or maybe if you use a lot of glue. Some people do glue basting of their quilts, and so this will be nice because it goes right through any kind of adhesives like that. Super nice. So I needed more of those. And then the other thing I got, because several of you were showing these, and I thought, well, let me just get some. Holy cow, I did not expect this big of a, look at how big this packaging is. Like, it's huge. But it's got this super nice container. They are pins with all the alphabet and numbers there. So I've got to break into it. This is one of those blister pack things that you actually have to cut into it and be careful. But they're all tightly in there. They've got a really nice, like a little ledge within each place, so the pins, you know, like sit nice like that, and so you can see them really easily when you put them away. So I thought some of you might like this because I know that you know, many of the patterns, particularly that I do with the Fat Quarter Shop, have letters and numbers for the pattern pieces. And so you can see here, they give you a little example of how it's used right on the packaging, and you might like these. So I will link you to that. Okay, our friend Nancy in Florida. Nancy in sunny Florida. She sent me this. Let me get it out here. She sent me this really pretty card and some yellow and white for my lemon chiffon, the lemon chiffon quilt. So I did actually do another block or two from that. So thank you. She also had a question in here. Nancy asked me, have I ever made a quilt with silk? The answer is no. There are different types of silk. I don't know how much you've gone to look at silk. Silk isn't necessarily just that thin drapey stuff. Silk can be much heavier. When I toured China, I brought back silk, and some of it's more like a tapestry weight, and it's silk. We went to a silk factory. We saw how silk was made. It was just amazing. But I didn't make anything with what I bought there yet, which was quite a few years ago. Silk does, I think it unravels more than cotton, from my understanding, but really it's going to depend a lot on what type of silk you're working with, and so you might try a bunch of different things, but I do not have experience. You could go to Quilt Along with Pat Sloan and you could ask the question there, and there might be people in the community who have done things with silk. I mean, there's silk ties, so people have done that, and generally you're putting some sort of a backing on those fabrics often, just like I did with the cross stitch, remember? just like I did this backing with the fusible. You know, a lot of times that's what people are doing with like the ties. So that's the one thing I know a lot of quilters have done, ties, but they often aren't silk anymore. I think older ties were. Okay, and the other one is from Canada, from Pam and Dave. Pam and her husband Dave in Canada, and they have both been watching my show, and she sent me, because I was making the pear quilt, and she saw this pear fabric and she thought of me, and they got it for me. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is awesome. So I think it's got a manufacturer down here. Exclusively designed prints. So I don't know if that's the name of the company, premium, or that's all it has. So if you're looking somewhere for it, but that is so cool. And then, thank you. And then but that's not all. Then she sent me, drum roll, this tote bag with the gummy bears. Oh my gosh, I am dying so much. It looks like, see, look at the Canadian flag. This, I didn't look it up, but I think she said it was a grocery store, bulk barn. It's probably, yes, but it's, and the handles, there's handles. I use these bags all the time. I walk to our grocery store, to our restaurants that are in our plaza. This is where my Starbucks is. I walk there and I pick up groceries. And Greg and I will do groceries. We can each carry 2 bags back, so we can do 4 bags of groceries on a walk if we want to, if they're not too heavy. So yeah, we do that a lot. I assume he'll make me carry the gummy bear one though. I'm not sure he wants to carry that one. Oh, okay. So I want to show you a couple other things from Aliso that, ta-da, and hold on. So let me just show you this. Remember, right, for the month of September, my friends at Aliso Iron have given you an exclusive 15% discount on most of their sewing things. So these are the cases, and let me open. I've got the little one inside of the big one. So this is for the big iron. Let me grab it. So here's the big iron, right? And it goes in the back end, like a garage. And so I am going to open the garage door here, like a mailbox. Yeah, it's more like a mailbox. It's shaped like a mailbox. And then inside is the little one. Whoops. So here's one for the small iron, and these are a felt, and so that you can just put your warm, here we go, you can just take your warm iron while it's still warm. This is feet are going up and down, but it's actually turned off. It's just on the same plug as all the camera stuff, and so I don't have it unplugged because that's too much of a rigmarole, so it's still plugged in. But you would have it unplugged, and you could take the cord and put it in here, like in there, in this mesh. See the mesh? Isn't that fantastic? And then you would zip it up, and then you'd be able to leave your retreat or your sewing day. I can't wait to use this when I do sewing day in the very near future with some friends. I am so excited. Okay, so that's the big one, and whoops, I gotta reach my ironing board. And the little one is also done the same way. These are super well made, and whoops, so I've got, I don't know why that's in there. Now there's no little mesh thing on here because the door is much too small. So your little iron will just go in. So your little iron, here we go. Little iron will just go in the garage, and then you will just take the cord at the same time. Oops. I think the cord needs to go at the same time. There we go, like that. So it's easier to do it all at once. And just push it in there. And then, see, got everything in here like this. And then you zip it up. Ta-da! And that is so amazing. There's coming out the front, so there's a little heat. If there's some warmth still, it can sort of dissipate and come out of here. So this is fantastic. So it is felted. There are felted, probably a wool blend for these little guys, and they're super sturdy. Got these great handles, and this handle, because the big irons are bigger, it's got a little bit different way the handles are here sewn in. They are so well done. So you can get 15% off those. You can also get a wool pressing mat. So for those of you who are looking for wool pressing mats, I want to show you the Elisa ones because they have a nifty feature. So here's the iron and the pressing mat rather. This is wool. It's New Zealand wool, which I've had other New Zealand wool, and they are really the best. I don't know why, but they really are. These are heat resistant tile connectors. And so you can see here on the picture that you can take more than one and connect them, and these lay really flat, but they're going to be on the bottom, and you're going to press. That one isn't, but you know, it's in the packaging. But see here on the front side where you're pressing, you just have that tiny little knob that comes up, and they're heat resistant, so you can press right on it. It's no problem. It's not gonna, you know, melt it or anything like that. It's just like those heat resistance pads. You know, it's the way it is. So that is super cool. Let me open it. So let me show you how this works. I pulled these out already, but I'll undo it because I'm also going to take this with me to my sewing day. So these will be on the bottom, but they just come into these holes that are all pre-done, and you've got the little plugs. See them? Can you see? Yeah, you can see it. So you just put a plug in each side like that into the wool mat, and then when we flip it over, you just have this part here, and they stay together. So I've got two, and so if you have like a table at your sewing retreat or just in your own sewing room, like sometimes maybe I would put these on the bottom to store them. You know, I would do like that and just put them on the bottom to store them. That way you've got everything stored nicely. But if you had like maybe a bigger sewing table, like sometimes you wanted to do 4 or you want to do 3 long, you could, you know, come and put like a third one out here. You could build out as big as you want. So like when I do my sewing that's not at home, I will take this and just I will connect them, and then that way we'll be able to use our, you know, Elisa iron here, and it'll all be nice and tidy and easy to take along. Maybe will it fit? Oh, it's not quite big enough. I think even when I open it, it's not quite. It might go sideways. I'll have to check. Otherwise, I might have to make a holder for these. I don't think they have a holder. Like a little tote bag. Or some. I have actually, I think, some bigger ones of those bags so that I can put all of this and take it on retreat, and it's compact so that, you know, you want to be sure these are all connected, you know, so stored by being in the holes. But then you stack them. You take them. This is the footprint. It's just this, and not like this big long thing that you have to haul around. Just these little squares. It is so brilliant, and it works so well. Okay, so I just want to tell you all about that because it is such a great wool mat concept of being able to expand it like that. And you can get them for 15% off in September. Links are in the description box below and at the pinned comment. Okay, because you have to use my code and my link. So, all right, let me get Peace and Quilt. Peace and Quilt is a once a month group of blocks to make this sampler, this gorgeous sampler on the cover. The book is by Susan Aki and Lisa Alexander. I am sewing my version with fig tree fabric. And so we have 3 blocks this week, and they are this classic rosebud, which, let me show you mine. Ta-da! Oh, I think one of the very first patterns that I did from like a magazine or something was a rosebud. I just love this block, and the red and green, oh, so good, so good. Okay, another block we have is the baskets, the scrap basket. Every quilter loves a basket, so there's a scrap basket, and you'll make 4 of them because it is a mega block. Here I'm using from the fig tree line the browns and peaches. Doesn't that look like fall? Oh my goodness, this looks so great So great. And I also want to again thank my friend Bobby for helping to sew this one. Yeah, it's she's helping me out with a lot of the different quilts, and so this is one she's helping with. I just love how that turned out. Okay, and then the last block, there's a couple little tips for you on this one. Or yeah, just things to note. So this is called Broken Dishes. It is, again, a very traditional, these are all super traditional blocks. They've been around a while. But what I want you to do is take a look. First, let me just pop the diagram up. So you'll see the center is different because of how they laid out these half square triangles. So depending on how you want it to look, I like the look of this one, which is what is in the book. But if you're looking at the diagram, particularly if maybe you can't find the block, that's because it looks a little bit different. They colored it a little bit different at the Fat Quarter Shop when they were doing it for me. I'm not sure why. It was probably just not on purpose, but probably accidental, and which is fine because it's the same fabrics. Also, this was done with a fat quarter of green, and it got a little squishy as to getting everything out. Remember, there are sew-in flips here, so if you're a little short on something, put the section on this cutaway part of a sew-in flip so that you don't have an issue. Okay, let me put them up on the wall. This is long. I've got to get way back. Doesn't it look fantastic? Here are the blocks, 1, 2, 3 that we're doing this month. These stars were done prior, this little grouping prior, that prior. And then this whole section is sewn together, which is so fantastic. So I suspect the next month or two we get another section sewn. Yeah, look at that. I love these colors. They feel like fall. They just feel like fall, don't they? So probably go with my peach stuff really well. It's like, if I keep it, I'll probably keep it for a little while and then give it away to have charity have it. So it'll probably be a dual purpose. I'll enjoy it for a little while and then off it'll go to a new home. So yeah, this would be a fantastic pillow. Don't you think? A fall pillow in those taupey browns and that super light peach. So gorgeous. Okay, all right, your piece in quilts. I hope you share it in Quilt Along with Pat Sloan so we can enjoy yours. It is always so much fun on a bigger project to get to this point where you've got quite a bit of it done and you can really see how your fabrics are coming together and how everything looks. Nice. So if you are looking for irons and iron holders or mats, wool mats that are super nifty with these connectors that let you do a larger mat just like that. All right, for Lisso, and you get a 15% discount off with my link and my code all of September. So, all right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.